So let's look at how we could take what we have now, which is what I consider quality content that really expresses who you are and what you're capable of, and make it something different. Can I see? Because I haven't seen Jeff's yet. So first of all, spacing is important. So what I can tell already is he used really nice paper, and so he's invested in what he's sending out, right? So texture is a nonverbal way of sending something too. So that's good for quality. What I would suggest is you have 3 separate pages. I would merge them onto one, front and back. But if you want to keep them separate, you could, but I would reduce it to 2. You have 3.
Yeah, I can make it to 2. I mean, if you look at the last one, it only has my hobbies.
It's hobbies. So they don't need to know your hobbies. They'll find that out in your interview, right? Your job of your resume is to get them interested enough to pull you in for an interview. You can talk about your hobbies when you're looking around the office and you're seeing, oh, you like to fish, or oh, you like to surf, oh, you like to hike. And then you can integrate conversation in very fluidly. We're not talking about interviews right now, we're talking about resumes. So first things first is I would cut this down to at least 2 pages. The other thing, obviously, I'm gonna say scrap doing chronological, because it doesn't matter when you did your experience. What matters is that you have the experience to bring to the table. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. Yes. So I'm going to show you this resume, and you just tell me what you think of this. Now, this is a 2-page resume. This is somebody who has, well, I won't tell you. I'll just let you look. I cut their name off, but just look at it. 6 seconds. I want you to tell me what you think. Just on feel.
From a 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Quick. Your first instinct.
Let's say like 8.
An 8. Mm-hmm. What would you give that?
I would agree.
An 8. So it's a solid resume. This is a person that had 30 years of experience. So they are an executive going from an executive role to another executive role. They're switching not industries, but organizations, okay? So now what I want you to realize is the difference between an executive role and management role. The only difference is most people in management and lower, they all put objectives. Do you see any objective on there?
I just see accomplishments.
Right.
I see summary and accomplishment.
And the difference in this resume towards somebody that has an objective is about $50,000. Because executives just don't put their public objectives out there because it doesn't matter. They know who they are is what sells, not the objective. And also for you all looking for space, you need to be able to have more space. So you want to take the objective off. Now, for entry level, they still don't do that. You want to have a summary. So one thing that I would say on yours, Mike, that you want to do is utilize the space better and the boldness. So I'm going to show you a couple other options. This is one more. This is another executive. Oops, I only printed off one. So take a look at this one.
I'll share.
What would you give this one? I took their name completely off. Just really quickly glancing at them. What do you give that one?
Yeah.
I feel like it's real close to mine. I mean, it was like a 6.
A 6.
Yeah.
So, and the only thing that they did different was a summary and experience, but they still did chronological, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, just looking at this, I mean, I really like the fact that it talks about accomplishments. That's the big key. It says, basically, this one says, well, this is where I worked, and this says this is what I've done.
this is what I've done. So the difference between the first page and the second page of this one is who I am, this is what I do, and I deliver. And here are my highlights of my qualifications, and here I am actually going into a little bit more detail, succinctly telling them what I've done in those key areas that I know are important for that position. For this particular person, They went through, they're an executive. They went through a corporate reorganization. How many executives have really had that experience? Few.
Not successfully.
Right. So this person actually did that and they were able to deliver results. Strategic planning, that's really important for executive level, right? So they're highlighting what they know is going to resonate with the people that have those positions already, okay? The second page actually shows who, what, where, when. This is actually where they worked. But what we did differently is we actually used this to say more about their accomplishments. Led the organization, what they did in leading it, and then some of the results. So we expanded what we couldn't do on the first page, which was pulling them in, and we expanded it when we talked about where it was at, where it happened. Mm-hmm. Notice the dates are not the primary focus here, but if you look at your other resume, those things are bold. They're right in front, and it really doesn't matter, does it? No, because accomplishments really are what deliver. Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter if, this person's done it in, a small little company down the street, or if they've done it for a big company, because that's going to be communicated on that form on the back.
Right. So very simple format. So here's a couple one-pagers. So the reason why I wanted to pull some one-pagers out was because not everybody needs two. So if you are going for an executive level job, and that would be something, any job that's $100,000 or more is a senior level role. 100,000, if you're expecting to go from where you are right now to that level, typically a 2-page, no more. That's the rule. Typically 10 years. You don't go to 20. This particular guy, he wanted to leverage his 30 years of career. He said it in a summary, but you don't have to do that. But you can. That's where you're telling a little bit of your story. You see, your resume is a story. It's about who you are and what you bring to the table, not what you did. The bullets are boring, and people are over it. So, teachers, dime a dozen. There's millions of them. Thank goodness for all the teachers out there. But doing a resume for a teacher can be quite cumbersome when they have tons and tons of people that want their jobs too, right? Young people coming out. So this particular one, we actually changed the format. We gave a huge white space, and we put a quote that was important to this teacher that conveyed who they were. It's going to distinguish her from every other teacher. Now, she was actually wanting to be an administrator in the educational system, which is different. So she needed to convey her belief system in her resume. And a quote can do that. It also distinguishes you, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
Yes, it shows who you are and what you think about. And then, of course, what their specifics, like their special needs. So she was a master at special needs kids. And she put that right up front. So key things you want to put right up front. You don't want them searching through your words, right? In education, education is important, so they lead with it. But typically for you all, I would suggest that your resume has your summary, and then it has your highlights of qualifications, those words that really are boom, this is what I can do. This is what I have experience with. And then describe it a little bit more, like the biggest selling pops that you've done, and then the back end would be where you did it, right? And it'll say the dates. So they're never going to know where you had this experience because it does not matter. What matters is they pull you in for an interview and you got it from there, right? Your problem is you can't even get in for an interview.
Right.
So, education. You don't lead with education unless you're an educator, because education really is this. It simply means that you know how to start and finish something and its completion. And for some professions, it's critical if you're certified or if you're CPA, and in those kinds of professions, it's really important. But normally, they still don't lead with it. Now, if you're in high school or college, you might want to put your GPA, but you guys have been in work for a while, your GPAs don't matter. Nobody cares. Okay, here's another one-page resume. Another instructor. Did you see this one? This is the teacher.
I love that quote on the side. I didn't even read it. I just saw a couple lines of it, but
You like the idea.
well, that would say, that would put her on the top for me. I would
Right.
see that and that would be, oh, hold it. And that would stop me, and make me spend more time on that resume than any other resume.
Right, and why? Because that person distinguished themselves from the rest, right?
No, it did. I mean, that,
Well, they also give like a vantage point, looking back in time, right? And it makes you think, right? So I think it gets the person reading it thinking more about this is a pretty interesting person. It's a pretty cool quote.
Yeah, and capturing their attention, which is what you're trying to do with your resume.
Because I bet reading more resumes is boring as hell in general.
Right,
And so at least this one will stand out because they probably could relate to this.
Right.
Because everybody could, I would think. So it's pretty creative.
all right, here's just a couple more resumes. You could see that they, you want to pass that one? They play with font. I play with font a lot. Now, I'm not a resume writer. That is not my job. These are other people's resumes. This is what they came up with. I just help pull it out of them, just like I did with you. And then they put it into these formats. One page. Okay? Any questions about resumes now?
no, I think it's, the change in format is huge.
White space is important. Why? Because flow is important. It's not how much you get on the paper, it's what you say on the paper. Words that flow gets people's attention. It makes them want to read more. Do you have an understanding now why you were struggling with your resume and getting attention before?
Yeah, because it was written like, whoever's, if you have a younger person reading these resumes, they're looking at it like, this is just the same, I've already read 150 of these today.
Yes,
The
exactly.
same, same format, the same everything, so boom, 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 and then you see like that one teacher, boom, quote on the or the left-hand corner. For me, that one guy that said toy, Toys by Troy, I mean, that was, even though it was a company, it still popped for me.
Right, so they're words. You got to figure out what's going to get the attention. Now, these formats, the one page should absolutely work for what you're trying to do. You're going into entry-level role in management, correct? You're not looking to go to the top of the food chain right now,
Correct.
right? And Jeff, yours, do you see the 2-page? Do you see how it would?
Yeah, I have no problem. I get how making it less than 2 pages or less than 3 pages is good.
Do you see how getting out of chronological order is going to be helpful?
Yeah, I guess the thing is I mean, most of these, for example, I don't know this person, I don't know how old this resume is. Well, let's just say if it was today and you looked at this and it was submitted, I don't know that it would make a difference that it was 11 years ago or 12 years ago that the first job they put down. But if it catches their interest and they get the interview, then they get a chance to explain that.
Well, the main thing that I want you to get out of the resumes that you're seeing is that they have keywords, right? And as we know that people are scanning your resume, they're looking for keywords that capture their attention. Mm-hmm. So you might want to, those keywords are something that I would absolutely suggest that you two both put on your resume. Neither one of you have it. You have integrity, you have the company's names.
Well, yeah, that was the experience part.
Right, and I would get rid of that and start putting integrity, right? Closer, problem solver, decision maker. I would put keywords that they're going to look for that qualities of that role. Same thing for you. 1-page resume. Okay? Any questions while you have me here to ask any?
No, I have a question on Jeff's resume.
Yes.
Because this is obviously an impressive amount of work and experience. Is it better to be, because he's very descriptive. You know, he's very descriptive. Is it better to be a little more succinct with 1 or 2 sentences, or is it, because like I said, he's got these big, you know, these 4, 5, 6 lines on all these companies, and it says all these accomplishments. Is it better to be a little more succinct? Is it a little?
Well, you have 6 seconds. Think of 6 seconds. They're not even reading that. What they're looking for is something that's going to pull them in, and this isn't doing that. And so,
But it's an impressive resume for the content.
right, but at executive level, you're going to get that. You're looking for over 100K or more, right? Right.
Or
So,
200. No, you're not going to.
so, but what you want to tell them is what you're capable of, where you did it. See, your message is different. So yes, succinct, absolutely. But how you message it is really important. You need to be able to tell a story because people are all wanting to be entertained. And if they are looking at hundreds of resumes, they're looking for something that's at least going to pique their interest to, number one, tell the story to their other HR friend, or to call you in. Most of them want to get out of the interview process and into the hiring phase quicker rather than later.
If you say that they look at 6 seconds.
Approximately.
Okay, no, I'm just thinking, you know, if they look at it 6 seconds, they're going to take a look at your summary. They're going to see 3, 4 words. They're going to start going down. They're going to see 3 or 4 words. At that point, the 6 seconds, have they made the decision to going this way or this way?
Right. Basically a swipe left or right, yeah.
So it's just like Match.com.
It might be, I don't know. But what you want to do is catch their attention, set yourself apart from the rest, and tell a story about who you are and what you're capable of. That's the purpose. Get their interest. Once you pull them in and then you get an interview, that's another phase. This is just the first step.